Hi guys, this is Ariana, and today I'm doing the Pride Flag book tag. So since it's June and Pride Month, I thought this was a really good tag to do. Just kind of explore some of the books that I love that have LGBTQ characters and authors and themes. So I'm really excited to do this tag that was started by Common Spence last year, I believe. I was not tagged to do this tag, but I think it's a pretty fun little tag, so I'm just doing it, and we're just gonna go through it. For this tag, I have decided that I'm going to be doing the 6 prompts, and then I'm also going to be doing a book on my TBR that I think fits the prompts as well. Because the way that this tag works is that you go through each of the colors of the pride flag, and then there's a prompt based on that color, and then you suggest a book that fits into that category. So I'm going to also do books that I want to read that I hope fit into that category. Because I haven't read these books, if they don't quite fit the category, little bit of grace, and if you want to tell me that they don't fit the category because you've read the book, just let me know. First prompt is red for life. So for this prompt, come up with a spirited protagonist who is proud of who they are and who gives you life because of it. The character I'm going with for this prompt for red is Magnus Bane from the Shadowhunter books by Cassandra Clare. I love Magnus Bane. He's just a riot to read about as a proud bisexual warlock who just wears and does as he wants with the magic that he possesses. I love his relationship with Alec Lightwood, and although it doesn't get as much play as I would like in the books, I really enjoyed the show, and just seeing Magnus be so proud and open about who he is and what he likes is just a really fun thing to read. For the to-read book, I'm going with Red, White, and Royal Blue for red. I don't know exactly if this fits the prompt, but I'm really excited to read it because it is a romantic comedy-esque book from what I understand, where the first son of the United States and the Prince of England fall in love. So it sounds like a fun time, and I'm really excited to read it, by Casey McQuiston. The second prompt is Orange for Healing, and this prompt suggests a book that gave you as a reader a sense of deeper meaning or catharsis. I'm going with Less by Andrew Sharon Greer. I got this book from the library, so I don't have the copy with me physically anymore, but it's a really interesting book about a failing author, I think that's appropriate to say based on what they discussed in the book, who, because he's been invited to his former boyfriend's wedding and his life is kind of in shambles, just as he turns 50, he decides to go on a year-long trip around the world, just learning and exploring and taking up on all of these opportunities he's been given. I really love how this book plays with uncertainty and change and how scary that can be for people. I read this book just as I was entering my first year of university, and so I remember being really nervous and uncertain and just not knowing what was happening next in my life, and so that played out really well for me, and so I could relate to the fear that this character was going through. Andrew Less is a really fun character because he's very, very flawed, even though this book is incredibly hopeful, and I love how that ability to play with the flaws of a character while still having the optimistic view of humans is really special, and I really enjoyed that. The to-read book that I want to read for Orange is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So this book explores the tragic love of Hercules and Patroclus. I hope I said that right. From ancient Greek myth. I've heard it's really sad and really good, and I really want to read it. So I hope I get to that soon. I have it coming on hold from the library, so hopefully that will be happening soon. The prompt is Yellow for Sunshine, and this book should be a book that is so bright and happy that it gives you light even on your darkest day. For this book, I chose The Poet X, and although I know this book does not the main character is not LGBTQ, there is prominent LGBTQ characters in this book, and I really love it, so I'm just going with it. This book is not necessarily 100% happy, but this book gives me immense joy just because of the way that it is written and the way that topics are explored so thoroughly and from such a nuanced perspective. This book follows Ziamara, an Afro-Latina living in New York City, who is struggling with her family and how she views her family, the faith in the Catholic Church or lack thereof, and as she falls in love for the first time and explores slam poetry. I really love how this book is written and just the lyrical nature of it, even though it's not necessarily the happiest book in the world, brings me so much happiness, and it's calming and very sweet in a very innocent yet adult way. And I really love the way that Elizabeth Acevedo has written that book. The to be read for Yellow is Openly Straight by Bill Konigsberg. I hope I said that right. And this book follows a boy who comes out as gay early on in his life, but because of that he's known as the gay kid. And so when he goes to a boarding school across the country, he decides to go back in the closet so he doesn't have to face that and just be a regular guy. And then some sorts of hijinks ensue. The fourth book and prompt for this tag is Green, Nature. And so for this prompt, you're supposed to talk about a book that has a reality that is very different from our own. And so for this book, I chose The Brilliant Death by Amy Scarpetta. I just finished this book. It's a really interesting book set in a world and country quite similar to Italy. In this world, there is magic, and the people that can use magic are called the Strega. And so in this book, there are two characters that can switch between male and female. And so there is a lot of discussion of gender and what gender identity means and how gender can be played out and the ability to change gender and how that affects a person. And I found it really interesting, and all that magic was a lot of fun to see played around with, since there's lots of different types of magic in this book that I didn't initially realize. For the to-be-read book for this prompt, I'm going with The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And I've heard that this book is a female-female romance, and it is an epic dragon fantasy. So I'm just going to guess it's quite different from our own, and I think it sounds really interesting and exciting to explore. The fifth prompt is Blue for Peace. And for this book, we're supposed to find one where a character comes to grips with a difficult truth. The book I chose for Blue is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Unsurprisingly, Adam Silvera writes very sad books, and in this book, the two main characters, Mateo and Rufus, both find out that they are going to die today because of some near-future technology. And so this book explores how the two main characters come to grips with their death, and how the characters around them all understand and come to grips with mortality in this world, where you have up to 24 hours notice that you're going to die. And it was a really interesting book, and I highly suggest it, because although it does have a ton of LGBTQ rep, it also is just a really good exploration of how death makes life worth living. The to-be-read book for Blue is, again by Adam Silvera, More Happy Than Not. This book, I am told, explores tragedy, grief, and sexuality in a really interesting way, and I'm really excited to read that because I've heard really good things about all of Adam Silvera's books, but this one in particular is said to be really, really good. Prompt in this book tag is Purple or Spirit. And for this prompt, you're supposed to suggest a book that deals with LGBTQ plus themes and religion. And for this, I chose The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. So in this book, the main character, Cameron Post, enters into conversion therapy based on her guardian's Christian religious upbringing, and she faces intense homophobia there, obviously, and then must come to confront her own internal feelings, the feelings of those around her, and try to struggle to figure out who she is. And this is a true, I would argue, coming-of-age story. The to-be-read for this category is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I've heard really good things about this sweet YA book, and this book primarily focuses on the budding romantic relationship between two boys when they're in a writing class. And one of the boys, his father is a high-level member of the conservative Mormon community, and how they have to navigate their relationship with that stressor placed upon it. I've heard really good things about its nuanced understanding of religion and its intersection with sexuality, and I'm really excited to read it, as I'll be reading it soon for Romanceathon. So that is all for the book tag. I'm really happy that I got to do it, and I'm really excited to further expand my mind to LGBTQ plus books. If you have any recommendations, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear from you about what you think are good and bad representations of diverse LGBTQ plus communities, as that's something I always want to include in my reading and I haven't done enough of in the past. Thank you guys for watching. Have a very happy Pride Month, and I will see you all in my next video.